when you're in your coffin and someone's reading your eulogy, what will they say about you?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. Hello everybody, welcome to this week's Tiff and Tony Show. Tony, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful today. Thank you very much. The Euros are on right now, and I am proudly wearing my England shirt because we won yesterday, and that means we're through to the round of 16. So that's why I'm wearing my England jersey today, because we won yesterday. So I am good. Thank you very much. How's everything with you?
I am doing great. I am up in Bend, Oregon, enjoying the weather and the terrain and the amazing river with my dogs.
Awesome. I love that. So today we're going to build on from the goal setting exercise we did our last session. Goal setting is very important. Creating goals that stick is very important. Understanding where you're going. Now that builds into the understanding where we're going, builds into this whole idea of creating a life plan. Many of us live fairly boring lives as it would compare to a movie, right? And much of that is because we're waiting for stuff to happen to us. Whereas if you think of a movie, it starts with the end plot and then everything builds to that end plot, and it gives the movie a purpose, right? There's a purpose for the movie because it's going somewhere. And so I think we can do that with our lives, right? We can create purpose by thinking of the end of it, right? Think about when you're in your coffin and someone's reading your eulogy, what will they say about you? And by the way, this is not a pure game concept. There are many people who have written about this. And so we're just borrowing content from them because it works. I've done my eulogy, begin with the end in mind. And so thinking about that, comments, thoughts, what do you think?
Yes, so I have lots of comments and thoughts. Firstly, I do want to start out by validating the fact that the language we're using with the movie is really just a tool to paint a picture of what we're trying to explain and set up that we'll get into very shortly, because I don't want to dismiss the fact that as humans, our worth has nothing to do with these goals in our lives. Your worth as a human is just based on the fact that you're alive and you're human. While it's so good to have goals and purposes and things that we are aiming towards and pursuing in life, the journey is really important too. So we're going to dive deep specifically just for this tool. It's just another tool you can add to your toolbox. So let's dive right in.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to start with an odd question.
Okay.
A very odd question. But it's a question worth answering and thinking about. How old do you want to be when you die?
That's a really great question. And I've actually put a lot of thought into this. You know, maybe it's weird, maybe it's not weird that I've thought about this. I'm probably not alone in that. I would say I want to be one of those people that is like really healthy and thriving and like doing like gardening at 90 something, you know, and just, you know, feeling good until the week I die. That's the
Absolutely. I love that. Right. So give me an age. Actually, give me an age.
Okay, 97.
97. And sorry, Tiffany, how old are you today?
I'm 33. You don't need to apologize. I have no shame about my age.
Okay, excellent. So tell me how many years that gives you left on this planet.
That's, if I'm doing my math right, isn't that 64 years?
Yes, not a mathematician myself, so I will take your word for that. Yes. That's fine. Right, so if you think about that, that now gives you that as okay, I've got this many years left. Now I'm older than you. I turned 55 this year. And so I actually want to be 95 when I move on from this mortal coil. And so that actually, right, that gives me 41 years left. And I'm sitting there going, 41 years. Wow. That brings it into perspective of what do I need to do today to make those 41 years as effective as possible.
So my question then to you is, what does that look like? What does that life plan look like?
Yeah, so it's a great question. There's a couple of other things that go into that, right? Who's going to be with me on this life journey? And so I've put some thought into that. The important people who would be there for me, my wife, my kids, some of my Pure Game staff, who have really been champions along with me. These are important people to have in my life. And the reason it's important to name some people in your life, if you could take a moment to think about the people in your life, it brings a certain richness to the next 41 years of my life, the next 50 some odd years of your life, right? Or 60 some odd years of your life. So you actually have a richness to it. And that gives you, again, if we're looking at a movie, the supporting actors, right, in the plot of your life, which is important. And then it goes back to the next question. It goes back to something that we answered last week in goal setting is, what's something big? What's a big vision that you would want to accomplish before you die? Right. And that's another one of those questions we asked last week. But let's ask you, what is something that big that you would like to accomplish in your life?
I guess big isn't the word that I would use. However, I think the significance of it can kind of go hand in hand with that. Is I just have this goal to someday live on a plot of land and have a garden and some goats and my family, and still being able to help people and mentor and just build a lovely life, or keep building a lovely life that looks a little bit more stationary.
See, that's awesome. And so anyway, it gives you the plot, right, of that somewhere is going to be in, and what we're going to do now is we're going to challenge people to write their obituary. In writing your obituary, this is the thing that someone will read at your funeral. And I know it sounds a little bit morbid, but when you actually think about it, when you put down on paper what you want someone else to read about you, then it gives you the number of years you've got left, the ability to defend that, right? Because once it's on paper, now you're sitting there going, well, I really want that to become true. So if I want that to become true, today when I wake up, I've got to make sure that I'm heading that direction. Yeah. And what it does is it creates a massive amount of clarity for you, right? And so all of the distractions that come at you in this world can be cleared off the table, because you can sit there and say, for my instance, I've got mine written down. It's written down in my folder, and I read this nearly every day. And it's part of this is Tony launched and grew a couple of businesses that reflected his passion for teaching others. Pure Game grew to a multi-million-dollar organization that served hundreds of thousands of kids around the world. It's just part of my obituary. So this morning when I woke up, I could have got involved in a ton of different things, right? Because my computer and books, people are going everywhere. My wife's taking kids to camps and all of this sort of stuff. And I sat there and said, no. I've got a business to grow. And so what I want to do today, and I want to do this, what I want to do today is do something that helps me move one step closer to growing that business. I also have got in here, I want to change the way youth engage in sports, right? I don't want it this crazy competitive adult-led program. I want it led by the kids, where kids have fun again. And so I'm doing stuff to create that happening. You just mentioned one. You want a plot of land with livestock and other stuff. So that gives you something to aim towards, right? It's like setting that goal, but it's way out there. And it gives you something to defend about that. How does that make you feel when you think about that?
Yeah, I really like that, because I guess I know you've been using the word defend. For me, a really significant significant word is motivation. It gives me those daily motivations, like you said, of which direction I'm going, what to say yes to, what to say no to. And yes, life is always going to be this winding path. It's never linear, and it's very layered because we're humans and we have emotions and thoughts and all the things that go into being a human. It's not just the events in our lives that make us human, it's all those other things too. And so for me, having those things to defend, that eulogy to defend, that's this purpose, gives me motivation to say, oh, that's where I want to get to. So even though this is kind of windy, I know I'm generally headed in that direction.
And you mentioned kind of motivation there. There will be challenges in our life. There is no doubt about it. When you think about a movie, what makes a good movie is in fact the challenges the hero faces, right? And as the hero of the movie, he goes into it and he knows that he wants to save the princess, right? Whatever that is. But if he was just to walk into the castle, grab the princess, marry her, and life would be happy ever after, that would be a pretty dull movie, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is the scriptwriter goes, okay, first of all, there's going to be a foe that he's going to face. There's going to be, a moat that he's got to cross. There's going to be a challenge. There's going to be a dragon that he's got to fight. There's got to be all of this stuff. And when you look at a movie, it's one hurdle after another to get him to the final goal. And that is life. There's going to be days when you wake up and an unexpected obstacle is going to come in your way. Are you going to give up at that obstacle, right? Or are you going to find a way around it, over it, under it, through it, whatever it is, to reach your final goal? And once I know my final goal, creating a youth-based organization that serves hundreds of thousands of kids, then I'm going to make sure that everything I do will overcome the obstacles that stand in my way to making that a reality. Yes.
I think that framing it that way really is just what you're saying is it can give you maybe the strength or the courage or the bravery to overcome those challenges because you know there's something better that you're aiming towards. Because the end goal isn't, whether or not this challenge defeats me. It's, oh no, I want to overcome this because I have this amazing, bigger goal that I'm pursuing in life, whatever it is. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. So our challenge to you today is to sit there and really think and ponder about your eulogy. And again, as morbid as that sounds, it's really a good exercise to go through because what you're doing is you're writing the end scene of your potentially brilliant life. And then what you're going to do is you're going to work back from that to today and say, what have I got to do to make one step closer to that? Next week, we're going to actually go a little bit deeper in this. That's the end goal. We're actually going to create almost chapters of the movie as we go, because we're going to create a 10-year plan, 5-year plan, 1-year plan, and how to get there. So that's the next couple of weeks coming up on creating a life plan. It's a great exercise to go through because it gives you clarity. It cuts through all of the confusion of life. And if you're sitting there doing nothing or wondering what to do next, it's because you're confused. And so get rid of the confusion, create some clarity, write your obituary, sit there and look at it and figure out how you get there.
Yes, and lastly, before we part ways, I just want to encourage our listeners, our audience out there to really be creative and think outside the box with the eulogy you're writing, because it could be events that you really want to accomplish. It could be the type of person you want to be, like these character traits that we talk about so deeply all the time here at Pure Game. It could be anything. So get creative. This is your life. It's your choices. It's your path. So keep growing with us. Keep coming back, and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks, Tony.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tiffany. See ya.
Thank you so much for joining Tony and me in this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. We hope you feel encouraged and motivated to keep growing with us. If you like what we do here at Pure Game, one of the best ways you can support us is by liking and sharing this video with your friends on social media. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel using the button directly below this video on YouTube, and you can donate at our website, www.thepuregame.org. And with that, we'll see you right back here next week.